What's up, y'all? It's the Rude Rider. This video is gonna pretty much answer a lot of the questions I've been getting as to why I picked up the Pivot Switchblade. Before I go into that, let me introduce you to my first bike. I call her Selena, Specialized Stunt Jumper 29. It's really the base model. Picked this up November of 2019. First ride ever was in October. Was riding my buddies Santa Cruz Bronson at Joaquin Miller Park in Oakland. Immediately fell in love with the sport. And like I said, picked up this bike a month later at my local bike shop. So let me just go over this bike really quick. So again, Stump Dripper 29. Base model came with SX components from SRAM. Obviously, I upgraded a few things, replaced a few things. So let's go over that real quick. So the tires it originally came with, Specialized Butcher and Eliminator. Can't remember which one was which, front and rear. But right now I have the medium DHF. I think it's 2.6 in the front and the Aggressor 2.3 in the rear. Slapped on this nice little all mountain style Mori bike frame just to give it some color, because again this was all black. Let's go to cockpit. So I did replace this with a DD Copperhead 35 mil stem. That's also DD's stem cap. DD Super Cush, if I can recall. Going with the black, gray, and silver theme here. As for the pedals, these are the DD Black Cats. I love these pedals, one of my favorites. I've had other ones before the Black Cats, but this is the one that I really like. I did replace the chain with a black chain and that nice little oil slick chain link. Again, I had, as I mentioned, I had SX components when I first got the bike. The derailleur had to be replaced because I kept smashing him at Rockville, which is one of my favorite local trails. So now I have the GX derailleur. Let's see here. The other thing that was replaced was, you can't even see it, but the shifter as well. Went from an SX to a GX because that failed. Overall, this is my first bike and I'm a new rider. I've only been riding for a year, a little over a year and a half. But again, I've taken this to Downeyville, to North Star twice. Had no issues with it. I mean, I love it. Even though I got the Switchblade, I'm still keeping this bike as a backup. So, another thing that was upgraded on this bike, or even replaced through warranty, was the crankset. The original crankset that came with it pretty much snapped from the chainring itself snapped from the crankset. So SRAM did cover the warranty, gave me these Truvativ Descendants, if that's how you pronounce it. They also upgraded the bottom bracket here. But enough about the Stumpy. Let's go back to the Switchblade. All right, so coming back to the Switchblade, I'm gonna go over the bike a little bit before I get into why I chose the bike. First and foremost, the handlebar that came with the bike was made by Pivot. There's this nice little chunk that actually came off when I OTB'd a few weeks ago. The brake lever itself dug into the handlebar and took out a nice chunk. The brake lever also broke, so I had to get that replaced. The handlebars made by Pivot, it's pretty nice. Love the color. Obviously it matches the bike. But what I have there now are these Envy M7s. So I picked this up at the bike shop. The other option was a Renthal fat bar. I decided to go with Envy just because of the name and the quality. But You know, nothing to take away from Renthal. From what I read, they make great handlebars as well. But I wasn't a fan of the gold trimming on the handlebar, although it probably would have looked fine on this bike since it has the Kashima coating on the fork and dropper. But anyways, Envy provides some decals with the handlebars, so I slapped on these blue ones to go with the bike. I'm going to North Star next week, and because of my carpal tunnel and it being long rides and things can get a little gnarly, I slapped on the rev grips that actually came from the stump jumper. I purchased these blue end caps again just to go with the theme of the bike here. So this is the XT XTR build. So what's XT about it is the brakes itself, XTR shifter, and the XTR derailleur and drivetrain. Got some race face effect 2 cranks, 1-up components, aluminum pedals. Again, had to go with the blue to match everything. The fork is a Fox Factory 36, 160 millimeters of travel. The rear shock is this DPX2. From what I've read and watched on YouTube, this specific rear shock is custom tuned based on the model of the bike. So Pivot and Fox work together to kind of engineer this rear shock, which is pretty cool. 142 millimeters of travel in the rear. I'm about 5'9" with shoes. So yeah, picked up a medium. Stump jumper is a medium. Pretty comfortable with this bike. Let's see here. As for the wheel set, they are DT Swiss XM 1700s. They are aluminum. Tires are 29-inch Maxxis DHF in the front, DHR2 in the rear. In terms of width, I think it's 2.5 in front, 2.4 in the rear. Underneath the frame, you have this little section here for the Fox live valve. The higher end models come with it. So just got this nice little covering. This right here, you can mount pivots. They call it a Ninja dock. There's 2 different types of tools that you can mount there. You can also mount a CO2 cartridge that they also provide on their website. In case you're curious about these were the original pedals I bought. Orbitron Super Kaz 1, 2, let's see here. Could have been the other one where I've lost a total of 6 pins on 3 different rides. Not very durable. They are super light. Not worth the $107 price tag on them though. But these 1-ups, I already talked about them before. I love these. All right, so last but not least, the saddle. I believe it's a WTB Pro with Pivot's little patch there in the rear. Got another logo there. Switchblade. So one thing I do want to call out, I did install a ride wrap on this bike. It's not the best application just because I don't have a bike stand and I didn't take the fork, the handlebars and the rear tires out. So it took me about 3 hours to do the full wrapping. So why the Pivot Switchblade? When I was in the market for a new bike, the first bike I was looking for was the SB130 by Yeti. It was always my dream bike, basically because of the influencers from IG and YouTube that I follow. I also considered the Santa Cruz High Tower. The YT Capra caught my eye. Specialized Stump Jumper, the newest one. That was immediately crossed off just because I have the 2020 version. But as I was researching for bikes, you know, I ran into the Pivot and I was like, wow, one's different. You know, so many people in the local trails, I see Yetis all the time, Santa Cruz's all the time, and, you know, all the big bike brands like Specialized. And again, the Pivot was just, who is Pivot? And, learn more about them being from Tempe, Arizona. You know, watched a lot of reviews on YouTube, read a lot of articles, and just really caught my eye. It was something different. And when I was calling different bike shops, there were some Santa Cruz high towers available. Some were on hold, but they were ready to release them to me since they weren't getting any responses from the person that reserved it. I could have waited till June. Again, this is back in April when I was in the market for a Yeti from another bike shop that was gonna hold one for me. But again, I wanted something different. And yeah, just, overall impression of this bike is, without using the words nimble and poppy and, I just used it. But anyways, this girl likes to party. It's an efficient climber. It can handle the downhills, rock gardens, it does everything I need it to do. Yeah, I mean, no regrets here. It's, I love everything about this bike. One thing I did have to get used to is the stump jumper came with SRAM components, and now this is all Shimano on the Switchblade. So definitely something to get used to. One thing that I love about the Shimano shifting, I don't know if it's just because it's the XTR build or component, is you can double shift, going up or down. So what that looks like is, there's one click, right? I'm gonna go back one and listen to this double. Love that thing. Part of the efficient climbing, that shifting helps a lot. And yeah, it's pretty cool. But anyways, I'm starting to ramble here. Thank you for watching the video. Appreciate you spending your time. I don't have any of those closing clever comments. I'm not gonna ask you to subscribe and like, whatever. I'm just doing this for fun. But hopefully I see you guys out on the trail, and gals. Yeah, just go out there and ride.